Okay, so, new hair, new room, and a message for the British public. Shut up and let the adults talk. My message is in response to the public's own response to the comments made by Judge Bauer. Now, Judge Bauer was talking to burglar Richard Rochford in sentencing and said this: "It takes a huge amount of courage, as far as I can see, for somebody to burgle somebody's house. I wouldn't have the nerve. Yet somehow, bolstered by drugs and desperation, you are prepared to do that." He then went on to say, "I think prison rarely does anybody any good. It mostly leaves people the choice to change their own mind if they want to. I don't think anybody would benefit from sending you to prison." Now, to listen to the public backlash, you'd think that was not the comment made at all. In fact, what it is the poorly informed public making judgments based on, say, one tagline: "Judge says burglary is bravery." It's just ill-informed readers who have seen this tagline and fired off in a poorly written rage on Facebook status. A full quote like the one I've just given you is unlikely to be found in newspapers and articles such as, say, the Metro and the Daily Mail, and most importantly, Daybreak, and I'll get onto that later. Of course, it is the belief that people have the right to cast their judgment and base their decisions on very little. This is bred usually by bad reporting. So, as I say, the Metro and the Daily Mail and Daybreak have gotten it wrong. They haven't shown the full picture and have forced people to make opinions without much basis. Most importantly of all would be, of course, the Prime Minister. You know, how he, on Daybreak, the Prime Minister had to make a decision and make a comment there without anything there. He actually says, "I hadn't seen these comments before coming on this morning." He was basing it on nothing much. He just said, "I've been burgled and I didn't like it," but then decided that, knowing nothing about the people who burgled him or the burglar Richard Rochford himself, that they are all cowards and the burglary is an act of cowardice. Now, wrong, yes. Cowardice, not so sure. Bravery, not so sure. Never burgled anyone, don't really know any burglars, you know. Don't people realise when bad reporting is bad? I would like to think they do, but obviously they don't. For one thing, some people have seemed to decide that Daybreak is now an acceptable political forum. Might I remind you that Daybreak is hosted by Aled Jones, the fucking snowman? Aled Jones does not equate to Jeremy Paxman. You couldn't go on to Question Time and replace David Dimbleby with Lorraine Kelly. Yet, somehow, people have decided that it is acceptable for the Prime Minister, the man who shouldn't be on morning television, who is supposed to be busy running a government and a whole country. Instead, he is on Daybreak being asked by a choir boy what he thinks about what a judge said, when he doesn't even know fully what the judge said. What is worse is that it's not David Cameron's fault, though he is increasingly orange. Has anyone noticed that? It is not even Aled Jones' fault. Hell, it's not really even the fault of, say, the people, the producers, or anything like that, who make decisions about what happens on Daybreak. It is fault of the British public. Because it's the British public who pressure people to do these sort of things. They pressure other people to make these knee-jerk reactions. So, had David Cameron come on and said, "I hadn't heard about these comments before I came on the show, I don't know enough about them to make a decision and give you something," there would be an uproar, because David Cameron had let the tiniest possibility that that judge might be right. And once, as I do believe the great John Green once said, the reason this is and the reason there is bad reporting is because people read bad reporting. Bad reporting will lead to ill-informed people who will make knee-jerk reactions, but ill-informed people who make knee-jerk reactions want to read bad reporting. It makes things a lot simpler rather than having to sit over your newspaper in the morning and actually think, what the hell does that mean? And it works in all ranges. It doesn't just go from the sort of slightly right-wing conservative view that we might have, say, from this sort of thing. The leftists and the liberals all have their own knee-jerk reactions. After all this rambling and excitement that I've had from just trying to make a new video after such a long time, I feel that really finally I should try and come down and make a basic message at the end, which is, once again, if you don't know what you're talking about, shut up and let the people who do know what they're talking about talk. This includes you, Aled Jones. At the end of this, I'm going to put up a link in the description for an article by the New Statesman, and I really want you people to read that. It's a wonderful article, it is intelligent, it is thoughtful, and it is exactly what we need. Go out and looking for good reporting. So if you are getting on the train, I know it's really a nice idea, but don't pick up the Metro, your brain will rot. The fact that I can go and read about the whole Judge case and about the horrific circumstances of the young girl in France. And then, 2 pages afterwards, be reading about apparently how Robert Pattinson likes to lick people's armpits. Go and read things like The Eye and The Independent, which are great. The New Statesman, as I just mentioned, The Guardian, The Observer. Go watch the BBC. Okay, even BBC Breakfast is better than Daybreak. Read good reporting, become better, more well-informed people. Thanks.
Don't wanna talk about politics. Refuse to talk about politics. Don't like to talk about politics.